Okay, so I've just got off a really cool talk with my good friend Swapnil Garg on the topic of sales, how we can improve our sales processes within our martial arts schools, and it applies to any other business. So I thought I'd share that with you on one of the Martial Art Business Growth Network podcasts. So enjoy, and as usual, if you have any questions or anything that you want to pick us up on, feel free to reach out and I'll see you soon. Enjoy. Okay, so today we're talking about sales, aren't we, Swell?
Yeah, one of the most important things in any business, sales.
100%. I think they're gonna be people that are watching this that their first reaction is, "Oh, I hate sales. I'm not a salesman. I'm not a natural salesman. I don't do sales." The thing is, if you run a business, you're exchanging a service or a commodity or anything for money, you're gonna have to sell. So it's better to have some kind of process rather than just put your stuff out there. I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it took me a while to get over the sales thing, really. Is like that first business which I ran, I was I wasn't that good at sales at all, really. I think for me, it was just I think it has a lot to do with how confident you are with your own product and service. So I think that if you're very confident, knowing that you can change people's lives, or like my first business was a body shop, but the thing is, there was there's there's so much things that you need to be very comfortable with that I think helps a lot with your sales process. Because, like, for example, like the coaching thing that I do right now and stuff, no matter results it's had, my confidence on my sales calls and all stuff is through the roof, just because I know what kind of stuff I can get people. So I think one of the big things, like in the industry, and I think where people stumble upon, is there is self-confidence. I think is a big thing when they're not confident that, or they don't have enough proof to show people that they're good at what they do. So I think sales is like a skill set. It is a skill set. It's like training. You need to do a lot of reps. I mean, the amount of sales calls I've done now, I mean, it's a lot. It must be at least five, six, no, at least 1,000 sales calls I must have done now. Have they all converted? No. I'd be in a totally different place if they did. But I think that you have to go through them stages to get better at sales and not be afraid of speaking to people and telling them why you're good. I think people are afraid of bigging themselves up as well a bit.
Yeah, that's true. I think when it comes to the sales process within any kind of small business or big business, you have to have some kind of structure. You have to have that belief, like you said, in yourself, and you have to have self belief in the product that you're actually selling. Um, but you also need to have clarity on. I think we said this before in a previous podcast on the journey that you're going to take the client or customer through in order to get a specific result. And when you don't have that clarity, it makes it harder to articulate what is going to happen. So then
Mm.
you end up feeling as if you are selling instead of just telling. Because the reality is, if you've got a product or a service and the marketing that you've put out has brought them towards you, it should be a no-brainer. They want what you have what they want. It should only come down to cost now, in reality. But it's about how you put across their the journey they're going to go to, and also address their fears. So objection handling is a massive thing. I mean, what are your thoughts on when people say I can't afford it, or that kind of thing?
I mean, that is something I'm still working on still to this day. I think that is such a important thing to understand with objection. You're always gonna get objections no matter what. There'll be some kind of objection. I think there's been quite a few times where people have just said, "Look, here, just take my card," basically. But I think that I was looking into this. I was like, why is it that they did that? Is because they saw a lot of proof I think that is one of the biggest things for people to like make. If you want to make your sales easier, show them a lot of proof that you are good at what you do, testimonials, reviews, all this stuff. That is where it becomes easier to do sales. Because, and then objections, yes, you, if you ever have the common one, I need to think about it, which basically means no. It just means that you haven't tackled their objection earlier on. So you need to like, I think one of the big things that I learned quite later on was what finding out the common objections people have and making sure that you tackle them in your sales process before they even get to that bit. So then at the end, they are literally in their mind is, can I afford this or not?
I really hope you are loving the content and the value that we're giving here. I just wanted to quickly interrupt and say to you that if you are finding value in what we're saying so far and you wish to find out more about what we do and get more help, more guidance in different aspects of the martial art business, then follow the link that is above me somewhere on this page and head on over and just request to join. And then you'll get all the daily updates that we put in there every single day about how to grow your martial arts school. And there's a little bit of personal development in there. Okay, enjoy the rest of the podcast.
That's where you want to get it down to. And then if they can't afford it, I think a lot of people just say, all right, see you later. I think that's one thing that I used to do early on. And I was like, yeah, you know, when I was selling higher ticket stuff, is I would just not have another option for them. And that's where I think I lost out a lot, where, you know, some people, especially with the economic climate now, there's some people can't afford it. But I think if you know that you can help them, I think you should still adjust your pricing in some way. Don't go too low. End of the day, yeah, end of the day, you don't want to like devalue yourself and stuff. But I think from especially with school owners and stuff I've seen is that they'll a lot, well, to be honest, it's actually opposite. They charge too low, a lot of them. But the thing is, even with that, they're still getting objections. So then, you know, if you're charging, I don't know, 30, 40 pounds a month, which quite a lot of them are, should be double. But if you're not getting someone to sign up just for that small amount, then you clearly haven't shown why you're the best.
You know what it is? When it comes to the pricing, in the martial art industry, when you have somebody react to your ad, come in for a trial, they can afford what we charge.
Yeah.
The question is, do they actually value it enough? And the only way that we can, you said something earlier on, it's like, can they afford it? The question to ask is, or ask them is, can they afford not to do it? Take that step in whatever it is you're selling. Can they afford not to jump onto your program? Can they afford not to sign their child up for your classes? Because that's the thing that seems to be a massive problem, is people are scared to go there. I mean, I learned all these lessons, luckily, from Matt Elwell, amazing sales coach. Shout out to Matt. So look at their pain points and then give them the emotion, which is, this is what's happening now, and what's the consequence of you not having blah, blah, blah. So, for instance, if somebody wants to sign their child up for confidence building via your martial art classes, then it's like, okay, so what's happening in your child's life right now? It's like, oh, well, they're just a little bit shy, just lacking confidence. It's like, what do you mean? So you're going a step deeper. It's like, well, he doesn't really make friends that well. He doesn't socialize that well. It's like, okay, and how is that affecting him right now? It's like, well, he's getting bullied. So within 3 questions, 3 levels of depth, you've gone from the kid just needs a little bit of confidence, which we all hear, to the reality is he's being picked on or being bullied at school, or maybe overlooked for opportunities or something. And that's now. The next question is like, okay, so if he's getting bullied now due to a lack of confidence, what do you think is going to happen in the future if it's left unattended and we don't sort that out right now? So, well, he could continue to be bullied. It affects his relationships. And you can go as far as you want with that. Yeah? And we know what the consequences of those things can be. Now, all of a sudden, that 40, 50, 60, 70, 99 pounds that you're charging is a little bit more valuable. than having a kid come in for a kickboxing class because they need a bit of confidence. It's like, no, this is life changing. The reason why you're coming here and the reason why you've like ticked on the box on our ad and given us the details and contacted us is because you want your child's future to be bright. You don't want them to go through that pain. So let's get signed up. So
What would you say is a good? I mean, that's awesome what you just shared, because that is digging deeper and agitating is really important. A lot of them don't do that. I think, what would you say is a good close percentage as well? Because I think a lot of them don't know that, or or they might think, or they compare it to referrals. That's another thing.
yeah,
I think I see that quite a bit where people saying, yeah, my close rate like 80-90%. And I'm like, well, is that not really? Is that can't be from like coldish traffic, or people that don't know you much. A referral, yes, you don't need to sell. I mean, if you can't close a referral, then there's something wrong happening there already.
you should
Just
you shouldn't include referrals in those your closing stats at all because like all the work's been done for you. Like whenever we get a referral, we don't talk that much. We don't go into pain points or anything. We sign them up, and then we find out everything later on because they strike while the iron's hot. Said that before, you know what I mean? That's what you do there. But a good close rate, it's I could throw out a number, say this percent to this percent, but it depends on so many things because if you are serious about scaling your business and growing your business, the reality is you can't help everybody, but you should know who you can and who you can't help. If you're just a martial arts school that builds confidence in children, guess what? You're going to be the same as 50 others. You know what I mean? And but if you're a martial arts school that specializes in developing confidence in children between the ages of 8 and 15 with SEN, special educational needs, and you can niche it down as far as you want, certain ethnic minorities and age groups and that kind of thing, then your close rate is going to be high. Why? Because you're not competing on anything. At that level, you're not competing on anything. But if you're trying to just say, yeah, we help build confidence in students, then your close rate is going to be based on price. Because we all know, you speak to 10 martial art instructors and you say to them, what do they do? It's like, yeah, we teach martial arts and we help kids and adults get more confident. So it's not new anymore. It's not different. So that means that you will end up competing on price. So there does need to be more. Ours is about potential. We help students reach their full potential. Your potential is our passion. That's our tagline, which is the same as confidence, really, but it's just in a different way.
Yeah, I think I agree, man. I think it's I think becoming a specialist is much better, because then you don't have any competition then, because no one else is doing what you do.
Yeah.
I think having your own system, your own methodology and stuff like that is where your sales become a lot easier, because people are not, as you say, they're not comparing you with any other school, because no other school has that same thing you're talking about. Or maybe they do, but they just don't highlight it enough. A lot of schools do teach a lot of similar things, but the thing is, the biggest thing I learned in marketing and sales was become an expert and highlight the things that people are not showing, kind of thing. So this is why like my tap system and all that stuff grew so rapidly, because it was very different when I first launched it 4 or 5 years ago. There was no one else doing it, and you got to evolve. But the thing is, I think that is one big lessons I learned with sales, is that it's the same with any school or anything. Is just that you need to highlight your methodology, make it different, and then when you're on your sales, you dig deep and find out, and then you relate the two and say, look, this is the perfect fit for it.
Well, that's true.
It's like going to a doctor's. You won't go to a doctor and then they'll just go, here's your prescription, see you later. You'll be like, I've not said anything to you. So like, this is how most people treat their sales when they, do a class, and then they just go and speak to them and go, here's a sign-up sheet. But if you're not speaking to them and finding out why they would even need it, I think your close won't be as effective, basically.
Definitely. There's an aspect of this where you need to be a little bit strategic as well. So if you stay within the pain points, then it's all the emotion, like one side of the brain. they need the data as well, because it doesn't matter how much of a difference it's going to make for mom or dad to their child. If the times aren't right, if the length of the times of the classes aren't right, and the price point is ridiculously outside of their comfort zone, then there's a lack of congruency between one side and the other, the emotion and the data within the brain. So this is where the skill set in closing is, like getting that crossover.
Yeah. So I've got a question for you here. So basically, I've had someone ask me this before. So I think you will have a good answer for this. When you're doing classes, do you kind of take them into a separate room for the sales side of things, or are you doing like do you have separate beginners only kind of class and you separate them completely? Like when you're trying to do sales for new people coming in, I know it can work both ways. There's a lot of schools that do different methods. I'm not saying this is the only way, but I'm just curious how you approach it. Do you like get them all in and then just take them separately and then do the sales? Or what have you found that works pretty well for you?
Okay, so we've done both and we still do both. Predominantly, we put them straight into the class, but there are 2 classes a week that I actually teach those classes for a specific age group, which is our area genius. We have a slot beforehand, a 30-minute time slot to do one-to-one, because I'm passionate about helping that age group. And that works really, really well because of the time allowed for myself to interact with the parents instead of just leaving my front of house to. And I can almost kind of gamify the whole thing, whereas I will close so many people a week compared to the whole rest of my team doing all the other classes on the other days. I always win. But yeah, it works both ways, but you just have to have your systems in place. If you're going to do a individual trial or one-to-one, then I feel that you do need to have the second follow-up is going to be in the class, because you're selling the class, you're not selling one-to-one. The experience is completely different. That would be the same as like selling swimming lessons, but their first lesson is sat down in a room talking about the life-changing qualities of swimming. Like it's all good and it would help and it'd get the recipient to be a raving fan, but they still haven't done a class with you yet to see how it is. They need to get involved. But then that goes on to the question of what infrastructure do you need to have in place and systems do you need to have in place for those new students to be accommodated and nurtured properly within the whole introductory session, like inside a class. We've got a flow chart because it's not just on the mats, it's everything that happens off the mats with the parents. I've got a flow chart that my staff hate because when they do the training on it every 3 months, and I tweak it every 3 months, is at each part, it'll literally go as detailed as, okay, so like 8 minutes in, go over to the parents and check if they're okay. At 12 minutes in, go over and give them this document. At this minute, at this time in the class, the helper should have done this with the child inside the class and checked this. At this point, it's very, very detailed, mate. Very, very detailed. And when it works, when everybody does what they're supposed to be doing, it is a thing of beauty. I'm so proud of it. I developed it over a long time. Really, really proud of it. The hard part is training everybody and getting people. That's another conversation, training, staff training. But just getting people to do everything they need to do. But so what I'm saying is the consideration for the sale needs to be on the mats and off the mats. On the mats, infrastructure needs to be that they get the enough care and attention so that they can get into the class, and there's a lot there. However, they need to be given enough space so they don't feel like the odd person out.
I think that's awesome info there, man. I think one thing that you touched upon before we did this recording stuff, and I think it'd be quite good, is I think you touched upon it. The sales starts from, where would you say the sales starts from? Because a lot of people think that it starts from when they enter the dojo, enter their place.
No, it doesn't. No.
Where would you say it actually starts from?
Yeah, it's one thing I teach my coaching clients in the Growth Network. They all know that their copy, their message, their branding, their posts on their social media, their posts on their personal page. This is something that's another topic we need to talk about. Posts on their personal page. Everything is selling the whole thing that you do. The turning up to your class, having a go at it, and signing the paper or filling the form or whatever, that's just the last bit. You can have the best ad ever. People will give you the details, they turn up for the trial, excited. If that part's shit, then it's like it doesn't match up. Then it's like the ad is polished, it looks amazing. Turn up to the academy, it's dirty. Nobody's really giving me any attention. They haven't really listened to my pain points. The ad said you build confidence, yet I've been brought in and I'm standing there, and the class before my little 6-year-old's class is a sparring class. So he's seen everybody get the shit kicked out of him. And he's being bullied at school. There's all these considerations, man. The language that you use in your ads as well. If you use overly formal terminology in your front end ad, and you go into the school and it's all slang, there's a lack of congruency. Now, don't get me wrong, people are going to walk in and go, hold on a second, their posters are using slang, but their ads, it doesn't work like that. It's a deep-rooted psychological feeling. You know that gut feeling that people get? It's like, this is not really what I expected. That's the feeling. And when people are like, have a negative, that's not what I expected, then it's like, okay. But you can get it to work for the other way. You could have a downplayed persona on the front end, then a ridiculously polished, going above and beyond persona on the other end.
Do you do anything in terms of before they show up, sort of thing? Are you pre-framing them in any way or showing them any stuff that will help them? Like, you think with, obviously, like you said, the congruency needs to be there from the ad and to when they show up, but are you doing I know this is slightly what we talked about last time, but are you doing anything that you've done in the middle that you've seen that helps with the sale?
Yeah. Show them kids achieving. We're talking specifically about kids classes because it's easier, isn't it? Right. But if you got kids between the ages of 8 and 12 in a class, send them stuff showing those kids doing what their child is going to do. And the activities that they're doing should show them the finished version of what they want their child to be. So being confident, happy, interacting. That's one thing. Another thing that improves the show up rate and improves the close rate is take care of like the demographics. Notice the demographics, right? If you've got your ads and all your ads show are Caucasian children, then you come into the club and then all the children are black.
Yeah.
Lack of congruency. I mean, it doesn't matter. We know it doesn't matter. The only way it matters is if you're racist. But the thing is, it's a lack of congruency. It doesn't match up. It doesn't match up at all, does it? We all need to see or resonate when we see somebody like us in the footage, it's sent. So one of the things that one of my coaching clients, I'm going to shout out to Keel Tidman, spoke about on one of our masterminds, not the last one, the one before, and he went into great detail with it because he was really good at it. He changed his marketing to highlight and show more of the ethnicity of the local demographic, not his current student base. So basically, his school, Keel's white. So Keel's school was probably about 90% white, but the area was a highly Asian population. Doesn't make any sense, does it? It's down to his marketing. So he just started using diversity in his marketing. He didn't have any black students at all either. Then he added a little bit more diversity with some of the other kids, and a couple of stock images and stuff like that initially to test it out. Lo and behold, he had more ethnic minorities coming in from the area, which meant that the kids were from the local area, hadn't travelled as far, which meant that the retention of those students was even better.
I've noticed that as well. I've done that with a few people. It's just you need to highlight what people are, who people are, not what people are. You need to highlight people in your surrounding area, because then that's what they see, and they want to be going where they feel welcomed and they feel they're part of the community and all that stuff. So I think it's really important that it makes a huge difference, especially on the ad side of things.
It does. There's also as well when it comes to the sales, like have we got time to carry on this? Because we're going off into a tangent.
Yeah, I think we can finish off in a minute.
Okay, cool. I'll be quick with this one then. Right, another thing is like the amount of barriers that you put in place. If somebody comes in and to sign up, they have to pay a joining fee. They have to pay the first month's training fee. They have to sign this form and sign this form. Then they've got to go away and then get emailed a link, and they've got to fill that link in. And then when they come in, they've got to go to this meeting and that. People aren't going to do it because people do not have time to jump through hoops just to sign their child up to an activity.
Yeah, it's a lot of steps, that is.
It's a lot of steps. It is a lot of steps. So the more you can streamline it and make it easy, the better it is for you and for the parent. The one commodity that we all lack or want more of is time. So as a business owner, if you want people to take action, stop trying to take up so much of their time. Make it simple, make it streamlined. And our guys, when people come in to sign up at ours, we have several ways that can sign up. That way they have a preference and a sign up procedure. They can do it from their own phone using the QR codes by scanning them on the wall or on the desks. They can use one of our many tablets we've got, or they can go over to the front of house and they can use the computer there, or our front of house can actually type it for them. We can't keep doing much more, can we?
No.
And also,
then it's just a matter of giving a good class. Just show them what you're good at.
Half of the time we sign up people before the class finishes because of the process. And you have a series of what you call it, test closes as well.
Yeah.
That's
really important. Helps a lot, that.
It really does. So you know which way to go. Anyway, that's again a lot of information.
Yeah.
We've got to be careful that we don't just keep giving everything, because people actually implement and get successful.
Well, I just hope everyone that's listening to this and watching they implement the stuff. You don't try doing everything. Find the little nuggets that you think will help, implement that, and then come back to it and do the rest. Yeah. So that's what I found has worked really well for me. So otherwise your procrastination will kick in. You just won't do anything.
100%. And likewise, if anybody listening to this wants a little bit more information about anything we spoke about, you can reach out to Swapnil or me, Rick. We're both on Facebook. You can find us quite easily. We're everywhere. Or even comment on wherever you see this video, and we'll give you a hand.
Cool. Cheers. Thanks for your time, Rick, as usual. And everyone, have a great day or night whenever you're listening to this.
Cool. Take care, guys. See you soon.